Yurta Ana, Adelaide. Today we are gathered here on Tandanya, Kaurna country. This will always be the forever homes of the Kaurna's First Nations people. South Australia's Rainbow Alliance advocacy event takes place on lands and waters which are still under colonial occupation, and that the Kaurna nation's sovereignty was never ceded. I would like to pay respects to elders past, present and emerging, and like to extend that warm welcome to any other First Nations people from around the globe or from other nations within our country. The city of Adelaide sits on a place of Tandanya, the dreaming of the red kangaroo, Wangami. Country is inherited to our identity. It sustains our lives in every aspect. Spiritually, physically, emotionally, socially, and culturally. It's more than a place. Country is family, kin, law, ceremony, traditions, and language. For Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, this has been this way since the dawn of time, the dream time, spanning over 65,000 years of custodianship of this country. Through our languages and songs, we speak to country. And through ceremonies and traditions, we speak to and celebrate country. And country speaks to us, and it is calling. To heal country, we must properly redress the historical injustice. Whilst we can't change history through truth-telling about our nation's past, we can certainly change the way our history is viewed. In my culture, I identify as a Mulagu Two-Spirit. Two-Spirit is considered in tribal order of people of importance. We would make fair and equal decisions to law, and we're speaking of law as in not L-A-W, L-O-R-E, which we make fair and equal decisions within laws and the differences in tribal men's law and women's law, and give an equal understanding when presented in tribal meetings. We were the forefront for battles and war. We were the matchmakers. We were the people that would make those decisions when it comes to everyone being equal. For every person in my culture, we were created for a reason. And that reason is that all persons in tribes have an important role to play within their nation. We were all born for a reason. But when colonial settlement happened at a time when Australia had a white policy and in play, our Aboriginal mothers were too busy trying to protect the colour of their skin of their children, let alone the job of protecting the child from being LGBTIQASB+. Suicide rate within the Aboriginal LGBTIQASB, and the SB standing for brother, boy, sister, girl, community is at its highest. I would like for everyone just to take a moment's silence for the lives and the loved ones that have died and passed on, and some of the great mob and our trailblazers that have contributed to our community here in South Australia, but not only within the country. So we'll just take a moment's silence in memory. Natalia, which means thank you. LGBTIQA+ people can be discriminated against by religious organisations, including the LGBTIQA+ SB teachers and students being expelled from religious schools. Many intersex people experiencing medical procedures performed on their bodies that modify their sexual characteristics without their consent. The rainbow community people are also not shown in the census or even through government research. These results of less data in our rainbow community and their individuals, which does not count us in. So we're not able to see that data, well then we're not able to focus on what needs to be done within our community. Trans and gender diverse people in most states experience harsh and unnecessary barriers with updating their birth certificates and therefore other legal documents. In many states, there is insufficient protections for rainbow mob, or rainbow community, as we'll put it, the alphabet, of it who experience hate. There are no national laws at a state level for SA, WA and Victoria, and no laws protecting the LGBTIQASB community from hate speech and vilification. With attacks on the rise, especially within the trans community, and we're also seeing it with a library over in Victoria with banning same-sex books on parenting, things like this. We urge stronger measures to protect our community. These include taking the first step to an anti-vilification laws and laws within our states that are currently lacking in these protections. Greater focuses and innovations to prevent hate and ensure that our communities are protected if it does. Greater investment into our LGBTIQA plus SB community-led responses to survivor supports and undertake public education. These are just some of the issues that our rainbow community are facing within our country, in Australia today. My name is Adam Troy Francis, a proud Ghana Ngarrindjeri Wurrungu two-spirit cisgendered gay man. The 1996 Aboriginal Youth of the Year for South Australia and the Victorian 2019-2020 NAIDOC LGBTI Pride winning ambassador, and also the 2023 Sydney World Pride First Nations Ambassador. Currently, I'm working at SA Health, Planning and Strategy Team, under the Chief Psychiatrist, as a Senior Project Officer for the LGBTIQA plus SB Aboriginal movements. Within SA Health, we are developing a new Aboriginal Health and Wellbeing Centre here on Ghana Country. Thank you. Welcome to Ghana Country. Celebrate, live, work, play, dance here on this sacred ancient land and ground. And I wish everyone a safe and wonderful night here at the IDAHOBIT event for Sarah. Natalia Nakan. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. That was awesome. So a couple of quick things to let you know before I acknowledge our VIP guests. So housekeeping, the bathrooms straight out the door are the regular bathrooms, and there are some others a bit further out near the front. It's really clear, I know. We also have two amazing volunteer but very well qualified counsellors with us this evening. So Zach Cannell and Leanne Friday here. They've got the little green lanyard label thingies on, and they are here to provide additional support given the content of the movie that we're watching later on tonight. It's quite full on. There's a very good reason for that. And just to let you know, if you are taking photos tonight, to share them on social media and to please tag us. We will be showing a short video just before the movie, and we really need your help to get it out there. This is one that we've been working on. So I'd just like to also acknowledge we've got quite a few MPs in the room who have come down from Parliament House to show us their support tonight. So representing the Premier of South Australia, we have the Honourable Minister for Human Services, Nat Cook, who is an excellent ally for us in Parliament. And representing the Leader of the Opposition, we have David Personi, MP and State Member for Unley. I think David's at the back somewhere. Oh yeah, there he is. We also have Lucy Hood and Catherine Hutchinson, who are both state MPs. So Lucy's the state MP for Adelaide and Catherine for Waite. And we also have the Honourable Tammy Franks, who's a member of the Legislative Council in the crowd somewhere. There she is. I just also want to give apologies from the Honourable Mira El Danawi, who's also a member of the Legislative Council. I don't think Mira did make it down here after all. I don't see her in the crowd. And we also had apologies from the Honourable Michelle Lansing and from the Honourable Frank Pangolo, both also members of the Legislative Council. We also have Helen Connolly, the Commissioner for Children and Young People, here this evening. And thank you for coming, Helen. And Tony Allen, the Mental Health Commissioner for South Australia. So it's really exciting for us to have so many people who are in key decision-making positions in this state and who have a really good platform to be able to get information out there and who are speaking to some of those key decision makers on a regular basis. This is the first time that we've had this many people of that kind of stature, if you like, present at one of our IDAHOBIT events, and we're really excited to be able to welcome them. But I'd also like to obviously give a really big warm welcome to all of our SARA members, whether they're individual members or organisation members. It's really great to be part of this community. We really appreciate your support and your involvement and engagement in the activities that we are doing as the peak body representing LGBTIQA SB plus communities here in South Australia. So I think that's it from me for now. I'm just going to hand over to Brett for a minute.
Thank you everyone for coming along. I'm your local Fruit Loop, a little bit loopy and a hell of a lot fruity.
Wowza.
You know me already, Nat.
I just spat my water.
So why we're here, IDAHOBIT 2024. The theme for this year is No One Left Behind. Equality, freedom and justice for all. The world has just celebrated the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights, represents a promise not yet fulfilled by our community across the world, and for everyone experiencing multi-layers of inequalities. For Rainbow Australians in our state, discrimination is not yet a thing of the past. And sadly, many of the statistics in studies in the last couple of years highlight how harrowing our members are still facing discrimination. And it's a funny one because one of the things that we see a lot on social media is why are you shoving this down our throat? Why are you waving these flags in our face? Nobody cares if you're gay or trans or anything like that. But sadly, we know that that is actually quite different for the experience of many people in our community. I'm just going to highlight just a couple of stats. In Private Lives 3, Australia's largest national study on health and wellbeing of the LGBTIQA plus SB people found that 57% of participants had been treated unfairly just because of their sexual orientation in the last 12 months. 39% of participants reported having been diagnosed or treated for depression, which is nearly 10 times the rate of the general population. And 57% of participants reported high or very high levels of psychological distress. And there are many more that we could list out, but I think you get the idea. So we invite you to use our information and experiences to help make South Australia a safe and more inclusive place. So one of the things that SARA is particularly asking our community as well as our allies this year is to take action. We love that you turn up to our parties, which are pretty good. We love that you turn up to our pride marches. But where we really, really need your help is to turn up to our rallies, sign our petitions, and stand up and voice a voice when you hear things that are being said that are wrong. And it doesn't require you to learn or know any of those statistics. I'm pretty sure most people would have someone that they can talk about a personal experience. So just someone saying something negative, you just turning around and saying, hey, actually, I know someone from that community, and guess what? They're human beings like everybody else. And unfortunately, at the moment, they do still face discrimination, prejudice, and violence. And we have to make sure that everyone in our community is loved and accepted for exactly who they are. So thank you everyone for coming along. I'm going to invite up the Honourable Nat Cook. Yep, it's you.
It's me and the big gay flag.
I was going to say, you're the licorice shawl sort.
Namani, Nanari Nat Katani Cook Mani, Nadlu Tempinti, Nadlu Ghana Yatunga Tikanti. 65,000 plus years of wonderful custodianship, always to be respected, never to be forgotten. Thank you so much for having me. I won't repeat all the names, but just to say that there are parliamentary allies here in the room with us. Certainly, I know we've got Tammy, we've got David, we've got Lucy, we've got Kathy. In our parliament, I know I can speak on behalf of my parliamentary colleagues and say that in the Premier and the Deputy Premier, myself, the Health Minister, the Education Minister, and many other ministers who hold very important portfolios when it comes to diversity and inclusion, you have allies. We are absolutely steadfastly determined to improve equity, equality, and decency in our community, a community of respect, a community that doesn't hold judgment on people for how they identify, who they are and what they say. We just believe that everybody deserves to be treated right. So just so you know that we are absolutely steadfastly determined to ensure that conversion practices are not occurring in South Australia. We're working towards a process now whereby we'll be working with you and the community on that. We're continuing down that journey. But the messages that we've been trying to send really strongly in setting up our LGBTIQA+ Ministerial Advisory Council are friends of the LGBTIQA+ that was set up by Lucy Hood with Robert Sims and Michelle Lensink in our parliament. The gender model of care in health, in SA Health that's been set up. Many of you work in that, I know you do, and you know that that has been put in place. With all of these things that are happening, SARA getting better funding and that support across the community, you know that there will be more things to come. And I hope that those messages of commitment, those messages that we're sending with the things that the actions that we are actually doing gives you some degree of comfort that we are determined to work with the LGBTIQA+ community as allies to ensure that you walk a safe and a proactive and a path that achieves whatever you wish to achieve with nobody passing judgment on who you are, how you identify, and in our community, that is all we can ask. I just want to make a quick comment just about freedom of speech because it's something that happens all the time. I've got a few, you know, we get lobbied all the time. I mean, David, you would get it, Tammy, we get these bulk emails. They target us with these email campaigns from the community. You know, I constantly say freedom of speech, absolutely, but it doesn't mean hate speech, right? It doesn't mean speech that passes judgment on people and hurts. That is not freedom of speech. That's a crime. It's an absolute crime. And some of the other stuff we're getting at the moment, which you'd be highly amused, I could read out my email inbox talking about some of the hormone drugs and just honestly, it's just ridiculous some of the stuff that's happening at the moment. We get these pages long emails describing how, you know, we need to care for young people and they need to be who they are and it's not fair to have these drugs prescribed, and I send these 2 lines back. Oh, thank you so much. I really care about young people's mental health. The end. I'll tell you, 5 years ago, I wasn't quite so confident to send an email back like that, but I am now, and I think that's all it deserves, right? That is all it deserves. It doesn't deserve us even thinking that those things are worthy of a long response. So I hope that gives you some comfort about the position of some of the people who are in leadership the fact that we turn up, and I know the people who have given their apologies are genuinely unable to come. So I want to thank you so much for holding this event. I'm going to apologise for leaving. I have seen this movie multiple times, and as a mother, it completely kills me to watch it. So I wish you strength and say to you that I totally with you. I walk alongside you. And IDAHOBIT, what a celebration, and how good is it that we can have that celebration. Natalia and Nakada.
Thank you so much, Minister. Sorry.
2 seconds. You've got 2 seconds.
Just also want to mention that DHS, as part of this, there was a second component to the IDAHOBIT where we posted out 90 packs across the state to various different community organisations, government departments and things. I think 15 of those went to regional and rural areas. We had schools, we had government departments, and it was a really great initiative. We look forward to seeing many photos tomorrow.
Right.
Thanks, Brett. Yeah. So just a quick one. We actually have a door prize here as well, and I have a random number generator here on my phone, which is from 1 to 148, which is the number of people who registered to attend. So I'm going to click generate. So I'm not looking. What number does it say?
38.
38. So that's going to be the 38th person that that registered to attend, assuming that they are here. Sarah Hurd. Are you here, Sarah? Sarah Hurd? No?
Generate again.
What's that? Okay, we're going to 77 now. Kristen Sortini. Also, no show. Okay, to the rest. It's number 148. It's Theo Bond. Thanks, everybody. Okay, so I was going to talk a little bit about conversion practices and the reason that it's so important to centre survivors in this discussion, but we actually have a really incredible survivor advocate here tonight. There's actually quite a few in the crowd around you. So I'm going to ask Jace if Jace would mind coming down and just saying a few quick words before we show you what we're about to show you, which is a really quick 2-minute animation of which is an explainer about what conversion practices are and how we can address the problem here in South Australia. And we would really love for you tomorrow, when you get an email from us with a link to that, to share the heck out of it. Everywhere you can. We want everybody in South Australia to see the video, please. Okay, Jace.
Yama, my name is Jace and I am a proud genderqueer Gamilaroi person, but as Beck mentioned, I am also a survivor of conversion practices. I can stand there. Maybe see me better. Coming to this film was really interesting for me. Similar to Nat, I'm going to go sit outside. I won't be watching the film. And I think what is really important is the fact that I can stand here and talk to you all today. You may have seen me in a couple of different pieces around South Australia talking about my experiences with conversion practice, and that's not really what I want to focus on. What I instead want to focus on is the statement of what IDAHOBIT means. First of all, the acronym, International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, Interphobia and Transphobia. For those of you that have been involved in community advocacy for a while, you probably know that it has not always been that long. Even in 2016, which IDAHOBIT Day is the day that I came out in 2016 as trans, it was not that long of an acronym then. So things tend to change, but I think the growth of the acronym also stands alongside that no one is left behind. I was a young kid in a country town who was growing up in poverty, growing up with a family history of violence and abuse and things like that, and the church found it kind of the best kind of person that I could look to. And because there wasn't anything else I could lean on that I knew I'd feel safe in, I was balls to the wall, ready to go. And that meant that who I wasn't something that was looked upon very positively, and they wanted that to change. I'm grateful to be able to stand here today and feel like I haven't been left behind anymore, to feel like I'm supported by community members, people like Beck who have been so instrumental in these programs to make sure that survivors are leading this story. In the same token that I don't think someone that's not trans can really tell you about what trans healthcare means, and someone that's not Aboriginal can't tell you what Aboriginal healthcare means, we're finally seeing a shift in which governments and leading organisations are valuing peer work, and that's exactly why these projects are survivor-led, and I'm so happy to hear Nat again assert that this will be done in consultation with community to ensure that what we need is actually found. Because at the end of the day, if we don't have those conversations, we end up just setting ourselves back, and I think that's really important to acknowledge. This is a practice that in a lot of ways is older than time itself. Black and brown people will know that the ideas of lightening your skin, or even the fact that we were taken from family members and kind of whited out as much as we could be, runs along the exact same idea of conversion practices that we can change and suppress LGBTQIA plus identities in order to make them be something that's more palatable. And we just can't see that happen anymore, because so many of us have such beautiful, fantastic stories to tell. And the more that we allow these things to go on, the more of them we're going to lose. It's really hard to face the realities of loss of life. I know better than most. But sometimes you just need to look that dead in the eye and acknowledge the fact that if things don't change and if people are left behind, we will lose the people that we love. But I just want to say thank you all for being here. It's so important that you stand up against this and that we see something happen and we see something change. Thank you all so much.